When we talk about the best game modes in Titanfall 2, I'm sure a couple obvious answers pop up. Attrition, pilots versus pilots, and hell, even LTS and CTF. But let me tell you a secret. The real best game mode has actually been under our noses for a long time. You've seen the title of the video. The title of worst, but technically best game mode has to go to Bounty Hunt. But why Bounty Hunt? Well, to answer that question, let's talk about the other game modes first. Now I want to reiterate that this is my opinion. If your criteria of the best mode differs from mine, then oh well, the world goes on. But what is my definition of the best game mode? Well, for starters, I look for a game mode that can usually utilize the entirety, if not the most, of the game's given mechanics. For example, when you think of a Battlefield game, you'll usually think of Conquest. This is because this mode encapsulates everything about the Battlefield franchise. All-out massive war on a big map with vehicles, zones, and a whole lot of mayhem. So how does this idea fit into a game like Titanfall 2? Well, if you ask me, we're looking for a game mode that includes free pilot movement, Titan combat, the use of the game's AI/minions, and an objective. Ideally, we also want this mode to encourage different playstyles as well. With this in mind, let's get rid of a few of these game modes. Starting with Frontier Defense, while this mode is great, I feel like it's a whole different experience compared to the other game modes, considering that, well, it's a PvE mode, not a PvP mode. And besides the first wave, you'll often see yourself only in your Titan for the entirety of the match. Admittedly my favorite mode, Titan Brawl is a great way to learn the limits and strengths of your Titan against other players. However, it doesn't involve pilot combat in any way, shape, or form, so we're gonna have to drop it. The concept of this game mode is actually pretty cool, and I'm surprised more games don't do this. Being able to 1v1 your opponent to compete for rewards will always be sick. But again, this mode doesn't really fit into our criteria of best game mode. Live Fire is a mode where I wish I could say I could love it, but unfortunately, it's just not fun. The idea of having one life is a nice idea in theory, as it forces you to be careful and strategize a bit more, but in a game like Titanfall 2 where the whole idea is you move fast and die fast, it doesn't really mesh well in nature. That, and it usually ends up in being a corner campfest. Now I argue that LTS is the competitive mode when it comes to fighting in your Titans. It's basically live fire, but with Titans. And the reason why this mode works so much better than its pilot counterpart is that Titan combat is just naturally slower and more methodical due to the time to kill. A goated mode, but sadly, it doesn't fit our best game mode criteria. Like with Titan Brawl, pilots versus pilots is a great way to refine your movement and pilot gunplay without having to worry about other factors such as an objective or Titans. But again, this mode only focuses on the pilot aspect of gameplay. Now, Amped Hardpoint is a mode that I don't completely hate, but man, is that boring. In a game where I want to constantly be on the move, having to sit on a hardpoint to capture it kills my whole flow. Especially when you're that one dude on your team that has to capture it and amp it up by yourself. Yeah, no. Now this is an objective game mode done right. CTF is simple. You grab the flag, score points, and protect your own flag. In a game where movement is key, this game mode rocks if you're really in tune with the map you're playing on and the movement system. Funnily enough though, I think there's one aspect of this mode that kinda ruins it for me, and that is the Titans. It just doesn't feel right to have a giant, bulky Titans in a mode all about capturing the objective as fast as you can. If Respawn removed Titans in this mode, I'm sure I would play this mode a lot more, to be honest. Alright, here's the big one, Attrition. Titanfall 2's most popular game mode, and for good reason. You've got pretty much everything in here. Pilot combat, Titan combat, and of course, our favorite little grunts and reapers. So why then am I here saying that Attrition isn't the best game mode? Well, that's simple really. Attrition lacks that tactical gameplay element. When I play Attrition, I hop in, shut off my brain, and shoot everything I see. I shoot enough things, enough times, and boom! I win, GG easy, next match. And I suppose that's why everybody likes it. It's a relatively simple and low stakes kind of game mode. But it's for that reason I consider Bounty Hunt to be just a bit better. So okay, I've been yapping on and on about how great Bounty Hunt is, but now it's time to finally explain why. Simply put, it all has to do with your role in the game mode itself and the need to strategize. From what I've seen from your typical match of Bounty Hunt, players can usually be categorized between three playstyles. You've got your cash grabbers, cash disruptors, and the cash out campers. The cash grabbers are going to be your main source of income. These guys will typically run grenadier weapons and often won't move from the bounty zones until the zone is cleared. and if they're efficient enough, they're usually the fastest to get their Titans down. The cache disruptors are all about killing those enemy pilots. Oftentimes, they'll straight up ignore the objective, but if they do their job well enough, they can seriously be a thorn in the enemy's side due to constantly draining their cash flow. And finally, you've got the cash out campers. Like the name suggests, these guys will often be in the backline and will shoot anything they see. And then once it's time for cash out, they'll usually wait for some unsuspecting victims to come by. The fact that these archetypes exist is great in my opinion. If there's too many people adhering to one of these playstyles, it can easily lead to a loss. And in the end, it helps foster that mentality of playstyle balance and finding your role. The nature of this mode also encourages the risk versus reward factor. Sure, you can always hold on to your credits for the safe cash out, but what if you want to gamble and go for those extra kills at the cost of potentially losing half of what's on you already? Oh, and I haven't even talked about the Titans yet. In Bounty Hunt, it really feels like each Titan has more of an emphasis on its designated purpose. For example, Scorch can easily deny cash outs with his flames, Ronin can be an insane farmer and backline disruptor, and Northstars can easily hinder your opponent's Titan usage from far away. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that you can gain value in other ways than simply killing the other team in a mode like Attrition. Despite what I consider to be positives though, why isn't Bounty Hunt that popular among the player base? Well, that's simple. It's just simply not as fun as a game mode like Attrition. While yes, there's a higher level of strategizing in Bounty Hunt, sometimes it can feel restricting being forced to go for an objective, which in this case is killing the minions and then going to the cash out. Meanwhile, in Attrition, it's common to see on the scoreboard that pilots barely manage to hit double digits on minion kills since they're really not that satisfying to kill compared to an enemy pilot. And why go for minion kills when you can just kill those pilots for more points instead? Bounty Hunt is also just naturally slower paced because of the 5-player team limit and the whole cashing out thing. And there are probably some more reasons, but I think I hit the nail on the head for the most part. Despite this though, I hope this video sheds a bit more light on the untapped fun of Bounty Hunt and it gets more people to play it as a result. As always, if you liked the video, consider hitting the like button and subscribing. We do have an official Discord as well that you can find in the description below. There you can find out what I'm up to, and you can also chill and chat with other Titanfall gamers. We also have networks on all platforms of Titanfall 2 under the name Reach's Comrades. Of course, you just have to look for the retag. And I would like to thank our coolest comrades. Austin, Semi-H Got Drip, Maz, otherwise known as Blue Apex, and the OG coolest comrade, Zach is Cool 64. Anyways, that's all from me, and I'll see you guys in the next one.